Order, honorable members. The next is call upon the House that the House approves the appointment of Ms. Mercy Kiiru Wanjau. Order. The House approves the appointment of Ms. Mercy Kiiru Wanjau, CBS, as the Secretary to the Cabinet. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. And the last vote, order, honorable members. The last vote is that the House rejects the appointment of the Honorable Penina Malonza, OGW, as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife, and Heritage. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. Now, order, honorable members, the upshot of that vote, honorable members, is that you have approved the appointment of all the nominees up to Mercy Kiiru Wanjau. You have negatived the rejection of Penina Malonza. This means Penina Malonza is now in purgatory. She's neither in heaven nor in hell. She's in purgatory. Now, the next move on Penina Malonza, I have received and approved a motion by the Honorable Irene Kasalu. She wants to move the House now to decide whether to shift Penina Malonza from purgatory to hell or to heaven. And I will now give her an opportunity to move the motion. Once she moves the motion, we have a seconder. Order, honorable members, order. Once she moves the motion, we have a seconder. Once we have a seconder, I want to encourage the House that you have overventilated on this matter. You allow the chair to put the question after proposing the question. Is the Honorable Kasalu in the House? I invite you now to move your motion in not more than 10 minutes. And your seconder will be allotted 5 minutes. You can go ahead, the Honorable Kasalu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And in the view of the decision of the House today, with respect to the motion on the approval of appointment of Hon. Penina Malonza, OGW, as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage, and the requirement for...
Sorry, Honorable Kasalu, I think we have jumped the gun. First, give notice of your motion. Thereafter, I'll then allow you to move it. Then it gets seconded and we move as guided. So first give notice of the motion.
So I just read that to you.
Just start by saying I give notice of the following motion, then read the motion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I give notice of motion for the approval of appointment of Hon. Penina Malonza, OGW, as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. Yes. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Kasalu, now you may proceed to...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And in the view of the House decision today, with respect to the motion on the approval of appointment of Hon. Penina Malonza, OGW...
Honorable Kasalu, when you move your motion, you start by saying, I move the following motion.
Thank you, Honorable
Then you
Speaker.
read the motion as it is, then go on to elucidate what you want to say.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand guided. And Honorable Speaker, I move the following motion, that in the view of the decision of the House today, with respect to the motion on the approval of appointment of Honorable Penina Malonza, OGW, as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage, and the requirement for an unequivocal decision of the National Assembly on such matters, I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Article 152(2) of the Constitution and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Act of 2011, that this House approves the appointment of the Hon. Penina Malonza, OGW, as the Cabinet Secretary for the Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. Honorable Speaker, allow me to say that I want to thank the people of Kitui for electing me for the second time. And I must say that I had a worthy opponent by the name Hon. Penina Malonza. And having her as my opponent, I can only say good words about her. Hon. Penina Malonza is a brave woman. This lady decided to vie for women in Kitui County on a UDA ticket, despite the area being a wiper zone. And the people of Kitui actually voted for her with a lot of votes. And I think she's the only candidate for Mukambani who vied on UNDA who got the highest votes. Hon. Penina Malonza is a woman of integrity. She has not been charged in any court in this country on any issue. Hon. Penina Malonza is well schooled, and it is an appointment of what many girls on this country would aspire to get academically. Hon. Penina Malonza has a working history. She was the last deputy governor for Kitui County when Malombe was the governor. And it's during this time the duo delivered for the people of Kitui, and a lot of development were done in Kitui County. Hon. Penina Malonza is being looked at by all the people of Kitui County. I'm sure, on Speaker, you have heard of the many bandits attacking in the Kitui County. And Penina Malonza comes from one of those areas that is Mother Ward. And the people of Kitui are looking upon her. Once this nomination has gone through and she's has gone through and she become the CS for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage, that she's be able to sort the issue of the bandit attack. So with these few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I want to call upon Dr. Pukose of Debes constituency to second the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second first before the point of order.
Honorable Member, Dr. Bukosa, take your seat. What is out of order, Honorable Member? Give him the mic, please. Give the Honorable Member the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And first, I'm not talking about the rejection of Honorable Penina. We support her. But Honorable Irene Kasalu talked about that Honorable Penina will sort out the issue of bandit attacks
Honorable
in Kitui.
Member, you are out of order.
So
Take
the
your
point
seat.
we are talking about.
Take your seat, Honorable Member. You are grossly out of order. Honorable Dr. Bukose, you can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to second
Honorable
the motion.
Member, for order, Honorable Bukose, for avoidance of any such incidents in future, Honorable members, especially for our new colleagues, you stand on a point of order when a colleague is on the floor, on the feet, and has breached some standing order. Number two, I and the panelists of the Speaker's chair will, going forward, demand to know which standing order has been breached when you say point of order, so that you don't come under the guise of point of order and embark on a totally different misadventure. Thirdly, when you want to raise a point of order, the member against whom you are raising must still be on the floor. Once the member has left the floor, you cannot raise a point of order about what they were saying. Honorable Bukose, you have 5 minutes or less.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to second the motion by Honorable Irene Kasalu on that this House approves the appointment of Penina Malonza as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife, and Heritage. Honorable Speaker, today morning we were having a cup of tea and discussing with Honorable Nzengu, member for Mwingi North, among others. And at times you look at the Cabinet Secretary is supposed to be in charge of policy, not technical. And I asked the member, if you are bitten by a snake, where do you report? It's supposed to be you report to the police station, get a P3 form, then go and see a doctor. Once you've seen a doctor, the doctor feels the extent of your injuries. But I know many of you didn't know that. So we should not be able to ask, at times we ask so technical questions, but somebody with that level of education will be able to learn. Let's give this lady an opportunity to be able to deliver to this country as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife, and National Heritage. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, I beg to propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Article 152(2) of the Constitution and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of the Honorable Penina Malonza OGW as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife, and Heritage. I will now put the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Articles 152(2) of the Constitution and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of the Honorable Penina Malonza OGW as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife, and Heritage. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order. Will now, honorable members, go back to the motion of the member for Lurambi, the Honorable Titus Hamala. You had moved your motion. Now we want your seconder. Who is your seconder?
In fact,
Mudenyo.
alikuwa amemove, eh?
Okay. Rachel.
Si mwenyekiti kwanza.
Are we still proceeding with the same?
Order number 10, motion, review of teacher deployment policy.